My name is Ryan Cleary, NDP MP, St. John South Mount Pearl, and this is your weekly video blog update of what I've been up to in Ottawa. But I'm not going to start this week in Ottawa. I'm going to start it last Saturday night past, in St. John South Mount Pearl in the riding. I'm going to start there because Thomas Mulcair, leader of the Federal New Democrats, came to St. John South Mount Pearl / St. John's East for a fundraising event on Saturday night. Lorraine Michael, leader of the provincial NDP, had a leaders' levee, a fundraising event. We had 250 people there. They paid $150 a plate, and it was a major fundraiser and a huge success. What I was most encouraged about is the fact that a lot of these 250 people who showed up, I didn't know who they were. I didn't recognize them, and that shows the growth and the momentum in the party. Tuesday was an interesting, surprising day in the House of Commons. Just before question period, what happens is MPs stand up and they give statements, MPs from all different parties. And at the end of this statement section, a Conservative MP from New Brunswick stood up and she gave me the gears. She called me an unapologetic Newfoundland separatist, and make no mistake, I don't apologize for being Newfoundland and Labrador first, because I am. And she also gave me the gears about saying I wasn't a supporter of the Canadian seal hunt. Nothing can be further than the truth. Earlier this year I made some statements about the seal hunt, but that was to point out the fact that we either support the sealing industry or we don't. And I also pointed out the fact that under this Conservative government we've had seal product bans in the European Union and in Russia, and there's a big fat question mark about what's going on with China and markets there. So under this Conservative government, we've had more damage done to our seal hunt than any other Canadian government in history. So I pointed that out. But have a look at the video now from this Conservative MP and how she attacked me.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP leader recently announced his new shadow cabinet, and there is certainly weakness among the ranks. He appointed the member of St. John's South Mount Pearl as critic for ACOA and post-secondary education. This member has developed the reputation of a, quote, unapologetic Newfoundland separatist, unquote, and is willing to take extreme positions on unity. He certainly has not been prepared to stand up for one of Newfoundland and Labrador's oldest industry, the seal hunt. Instead of standing up to the radicals who oppose this traditional way of life, he suggested that it may be time for sealers to just give up. Mr. Speaker, our government is proud to stand up for Canadian sealers. It is shocking to hear the member of St. John's South Mount Pearl speak so harshly against this important industry.
That's terrible.
The NDP threatens dangerous economic experiments, job-killing taxes, and
questions? Questions are the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This week has been a very busy week in Ottawa. They're all busy weeks in Ottawa. Last night alone, on Tuesday evening, we had 20-odd votes in the House of Commons. We were there for at least an hour and a half. This has also been a busy week outside of the House of Commons. I had meetings with trade unions. I had meetings with representatives of post-secondary education. I had to give an address before 300-odd members of the Canadian Real Estate Association. Oh, before I forget, one of the gentlemen that I met with, representative of a trade union, he represents pipe fitters in Alberta. He represents 11,000 pipe fitters in Alberta. This gentleman is actually, his name is Steve Ennis, and he's originally from Placentia. And of these 11,000 pipe fitters that he represents in Alberta, 2,500 are from Newfoundland and Labrador. So don't say Newfoundland and Labrador doesn't make a major contribution to the Canadian economy. To wrap up this week, on Thursday I'm headed to Nova Scotia. And in Nova Scotia I've got meetings with representatives of post-secondary education, the fishery, Dalhousie University, and there's also a town hall meeting on the budget implementation bill and the impact, for example, on the fishery. So it will be myself, Finn Donnelly, an MP from BC, and Robert Chisholm, who's the fisheries critic who's from Nova Scotia. So that's going to be a full day of meetings. Then on Friday, I'm headed to Japan. I'm headed to Japan for 7 days. Next week is actually the break week in the House of Commons, where you go back to your riding. But in this case, I'll be heading to Japan with the Canada-Japan Parliamentary Committee. I'm going to have some meetings over there in regards to the fishery and world markets. And I'm also going to tour, along with a delegation of other MPs from all parties, I'm going to tour the areas that were hit by the tsunami. So that's going to be very interesting, and I'm proud to represent Newfoundland and Labrador and Canada in that trip to Japan. So again, next week is a break week. I'm not going to be doing a video, but I'll do one the week after that when we return to the House of Commons. Until then, take care.